It's an honor to be invited here today to address the convention. I will try to go through my comments as quickly as possible because I know it's been a long session. I want to make some comments about how Metro ILA is doing, and I also want to maybe make a few comments about management and the ILA and how we could work better together, how we should or could work better together. But first, I want to tell a quick story about how the master contract ultimately was settled. You may have heard other stories, but this one is the truth. So, very late into the night of what turned out to be the last day of contract negotiations, there were 4 people in the room: Dave Adam, Paul DeMaria, Harold Daggett, Dennis Daggett. And they were going late into the night. Conversation was really tough. They couldn't agree on finalizing things. It was heated. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the room, there was a blue swirl of smoke forming, and a genie appeared. And the genie turns around and says, "I'm here to stop this nonsense, and I want to grant each one of you a wish, any wish you want." So he goes to Dave Adam first. He says, "Dave, how about you?" Dave says, "Genie, I'm a West Coast guy. I don't even want to be here. I love the sun, I love the sand. There's nothing better that I would like than to be on a tropical island right now, put my feet in the ocean and soak in the rays." Genie turns around, he says, "That's an easy one." Poof, Dave Adam disappears. Genie turns to Paul DeMaria, he says, "Paul, how about you?" He says, "Genie, everybody knows I love great wine. I would love nothing more than to travel the world, every country that's known for their vineyards, so that I could taste the finest wines that are out there." Genie turns around, he says, "That's easier than the first one." Poof, Paul DeMaria disappears. Harold, Dennis are left. Genie looks at them and says, "Fellas, how about you guys? What wishes can I grant you?" They look at each other, look across at the empty chairs, go back to the genie, says, "I think we're good." Now, we all know the genies don't really exist, and the rumor has it that Alan Robb was disguised as the genie that night. I don't know what the hell he did with those guys, where he hid them, but that's how the master contract was settled, and it is a great contract. It is good to be here today, and I do appreciate it. In the introduction, Harold mentioned what Metro is. We are the maintenance association in the port. I call it Little Old Metro because we're kind of a little blip, but we do generate a lot of activity. I can't mention our member employers by name, but I will give you an idea. I want to mention quickly the board of directors and the companies to give you an idea of who we are and what makes us up. John Atkins, who's the president of Global Container Terminals in Bayonne, Staten Island. Gary Cross, president and CEO of Mar Terminals. Jim Policcio, president and CEO of Port Newark Container Terminal. Bruce Fenimore, CEO of the Columbia Group. Ed McDevitt, VP Operations, American Maritime Services of New York and New Jersey and Integrated Industries. Frank Borland, the president of Ironbound Intermodal Services, and Tom Delaney, the president of AG Ship Maintenance, Port-Wide Cargo. These companies and the rest of our member employers, as Harold mentioned in the introduction, hire collectively about 1,100 Metro ILA workers, and we generate about 3.1 million hours a year. We've been doing that for about 4 years consecutively. Now, to give you some perspective, when I started 22 years ago, we were generating just over 1.5 million hours. So it's amazing the growth that we've experienced over the years. If we were to take, we're not part of the master contract, but if we were to take our 3.1 million hours, we would be equivalent to the 4th largest port on the East Coast, and that's pretty impressive. Put another way, as a percentage of total hours, our 3.1 million hours would account for about 11% of the total master contract ILA hours, which is also impressive. I don't say this to brag, but only to emphasize that our employers and the workforce, the ILA workforce, are an invaluable part of the operations in the Port of New Jersey and New York. Sadly, for a stretch of time, we were in what I call the dark ages of Metro. For a time, we had become disconnected from the rest of the port community. Our relations with the ILA, USMX, the NYSA, Port Authority, and the rest of the port stakeholders was damaged and at an all-time low. We had become virtually irrelevant. Since 2014, with the election of our prior president, Jim Mara, we started a complete overhaul of the association, and Jim generously considered our working arrangement as a partnership over the past 5 years. We've worked to rebuild our credibility and standing in the port. Metro is no longer a dark secret or an embarrassment. We are alive and strong and will continue to grow in the years ahead. I became president this past December, but Jim is retiring this year, and I really owe him a debt of gratitude, and I want to recognize him personally for all his hard work. Another part of our initiatives is our maintenance training program. We have a training facility for hands-on and classroom training right in the port area. Since the mid-2000s, we've offered over 50 courses, conducted over 145,000 man-hours of training, and 3,600 participants have been trained, including some ILA workers from the NYSA. Some of the courses have been in automotive, mechanical, hydraulics, electrical, structural, reefers, welding, and torch handling. Especially in the current contract with our pledge to invest in the ILA rather than automation, we are devoted to our training program more than ever. We realize that the investment to improve the knowledge and skills of our workforce today will reap boundless benefits that will improve productivity, efficiency, and safety in our port for years to come. If we are successful in that regard, the discussion to continue to choose labor over machines will be an easier one in future contract negotiations. I can't speak about Metro without briefly talking about our benefit funds, the Fringe Benefit Fund, Pension Fund, and Individual Account Retirement Fund, which are housed in our offices in Rutherford, New Jersey. In addition to working for the association, I've also been the administrator and a trustee for the Metro ILA funds for 17 of the past 22 years. I'm happy to report that our funds are in excellent shape. Despite benefit enhancements in the current contract, our pension fund is still in the green zone and expected to become fully funded by the end of this contract. We currently have about 1,000 pensioners and/or surviving spouses in pay status. And to give you an idea of the value of the pension, from 2013 through 18, the average pension for a retiree with over 25 years of service was about $55,000 a year. In 2019, with a special enhanced window benefit that went into effect on June 1st and will end by the end of the year, the average pension benefit for a retiree with 25 years or more of service jumps up to $66,000 a year. And these numbers are not just lifetime-only calculations. They are net of any reductions made for surviving spouse benefits. I'm proud to say that we can offer those types of benefits without adding any stress to the plan or endangering our path to becoming fully funded. Other benefits, we're grateful to participate in the Mylan program. Our Fringe Benefit Fund also administers a vacation pay of 10% of an individual's prior year's gross wages every June 1st, and holiday pay every December 1st of up to 16 paid days. Our other retirement plan, the Individual Account Retirement Fund, has been in place since 1997. Total plan balance for all actives in that plan, the total plan balance is $140 million, and the average account balance for each active currently is $130,000. For those retiring in that special window that I just mentioned, their average account balance is $265,000, all right? And that together with a pension of about $66,000 a year, I think is a pretty good deal. There's further good news for the current actives. Per the current collective bargaining agreement, our $3 per hour contribution into the individual accounts will increase incrementally over the next few years, an additional $2, so that by January of 2023, the total contribution to each individual's account will be $5 per hour for every hour worked. So those active account balances that are currently averaging about 130 will be growing very rapidly in the years to come. I'd like to switch my focus on a few comments regarding the relationship between management and the ILA. I don't have to tell you that the work of labor relations, negotiations, being a leader in this environment is not easy at times. But my friends, it's not supposed to be easy. That's our job as leaders. When there's a problem, when a problem comes up, we're supposed to come up with ideas and strategies to solve those problems. That's what we get paid for. Our ultimate goal is the same, and it's actually simple. We want to attract cargo to our ports. We want to move that cargo in and out of our facilities as quickly, efficiently, and safely as possible. But making all of that happen consistently and with fewest disruptions is often not so simple. We deal with some complex challenges. Some of the issues are operational, some of them are logistical, and some are political within our own companies or within the union. In the Port of New Jersey and New York, we have a couple of issues that we're currently addressing. You have heard often, even today, that we experience the intrusion and the overreach of the Waterfront Commission. The union doesn't want the intrusion, and neither do we. Our companies want to run their businesses, hire and put people to work as they see fit with outside interference. Remember, the focus is, it's all about attracting cargo, moving cargo, quickly, efficiently, and safely. That's all we're in this business to do. That's why we go to work every day. We're also currently facing issues in the chassis repair area. The percentage of trucker-owned wheels that has been increasing at a rapid pace over the past few years is a jurisdictional challenge, and it's threatening the interests of both the ILA and our member companies. We don't want to see that work go away just as much as the ILA doesn't. These issues are examples of how problems can become opportunities for us to work together because we share common goals. We may have different reasons for supporting the same things, but we can look to solve those problems together. Yes, when we deal with each other, conversations can get dicey at times. Sometimes we have to leave a meeting, and the best we can do is agree to disagree. There are times it does become contentious, and there's a roadblock. But in those instances, we need to get over ourselves. Both sides do. Regroup and keep working on whatever it is that we're working on until we reach a solution or an agreement, because it's too important and there's too much at stake. The key to the whole thing is to develop trust, cultivate our relationship, keep the lines of communication open, and to respect each other for who we are and what we stand for. I've been very fortunate as a management representative to work with some outstanding people in the ILA, and I'm not ashamed to publicly say it. Harold Daggett is an amazing, one-of-a-kind leader. Yes, he's a tough force on the other side of the table, but we respect each other, and at the end of the day, I'm privileged, happy, honored to say he's a friend of mine. Dennis Daggett, John Daggett, thank you. Dennis Daggett and John Daggett are superb, good men, solid ILA leaders. I often refer to them as brothers more than friends because we've become that close over the years. They are fair, they're reasonable, intelligent men to work with, and I respect them greatly. Guys like Mike Vigneron, Peter Clark, the new president of Local 1814, Frank Augusta, Raul Vasquez, we have a long history together. All outstanding individuals who are also a pleasure to work with. Now, there are some people out there who might say that it's not appropriate for a management guy to speak that way about the union because you're getting too close, it sounds too cozy. That's ridiculous. The rapport that we've established with each other makes me more effective as a management representative. We know where we stand, and my ILA counterparts know that I'll advocate and fight for my employers' interests just as strongly as they fight for their members. And at the end of the day, we can still be friends. Dennis, last week, it caught my attention, and he emphasized it today, made an important comment to you about consistency and leadership of your locals and to try not to look to change often. It takes time to develop rapport and to build trust between us. And I know in some other ports, trust and respect between management and labor is lacking or even non-existent. And for those of you in those situations, I hope that you'll be able to find ways to come together to work on things that will benefit both your interests and the interests of the companies you deal with. So in closing, I'd like to leave you with two simple words: thank you. Thank you again for the opportunity to be with you this week, to speak with you today. Thanks to all the leadership of the ILA. I do want to say to each and every person who's behind the scenes, thank you. Thank you for all the hard work that you do to pull this off. It's an amazing, amazing effort. Thank you all also to the representatives here of the Metro ILA from Locals 1804-1 and 1814. On behalf of our employers, thank you for all your hard work and your dedication. Our companies, because of you, could not provide the valuable services they offer to their customers, and you help make our port shine. And finally, thank you to everyone in this room. I don't know many of you, but I hope over the next few days I'll get to know more of you. And I wish you a great convention this week. And if I could, I'll say thanks again. I would say God bless you. I will say God bless the ILA. I also want to say God bless Metro ILA. Thank you.
Very good.